So here's a trick for improving your drum tracks, more specifically the kick drum. If you wanted to add more boominess to it, if you had like more of like a hip hop kind of vibe and you were mixing tracks, and if you wanted to make the kick really have a lot more body to it as opposed to just the attack, then this is a cool way to kind of add that in. And it's important to note that I'm showing you this in Cubase in this case, but once you understand this in theory, it's really easy to kind of implement this in any other software or with a digital mixer or with an analog mixer, assuming you have all the external gear that you would need. So here's what you need to do this. First, you need a signal generator. So that can either be a VST, which is what I'm using in this case, or it could be kind of an external signal generator or one built into your mixer. And you also need a gate, and preferably a gate with a low pass and high pass filter on it, so that you can add that in as well. So the way this works is you have a drum track. So let's listen to our drum track here. So that's just a quick drum loop, and you can hear how it's kind of like a hip hop funk kind of loop, but the kick drum doesn't have much body to it. It's more attack. So let's say we wanted to use that in a hip hop song. We wanted to kind of give it that boominess. So here we have a separate audio track, and I've inserted my signal generator. This one's called MDA Test Tone. And I like this one because it has a lot of different options and it's free. So I'll include a link to that down below. I'm not sure if it's Mac and Windows compatible. In this case, it's Mac, but I'll check on that. And so here's what it sounds like. I've already set this up in preparation, but so you hear that we get that low frequency sine wave, and you could, depending on the style of the music, you can kind of set that to different frequencies. Generally, I like to keep it between 40 and 60 hertz because that sounds very natural. But sometimes you might want a more unnatural kind of sound to it, so you might want to go up to 80 if it's like, some hip hop songs like to use that. Or if you're mixing for like an elephant or a ferret, you can go down to like 20 hertz, and most humans can't really hear that. So yeah, I'm going to set that around 50 hertz just for fun. And I've also kind of set up our gate a bit, but here's what I've done. So this button here in Cubase activates the side chain. And if you have a previous version of Cubase or Cubase LE or one of the cheaper versions, then unfortunately they don't give you that option. So make sure that you have that in your DAW before starting this. And what this does is it allows another track or the same track to kind of trigger the inline effect that you're using. So in this case, we have a gate, and we want our gate to open based on our drum track. So once I activate sidechain on this gate, when I go back to my drum loop and I go to my sends, you'll see I have the option now for my sidechain of my signal generator. So once I sent it there at about 0 dB, I'm now using this audio from this track to trigger my gate and open it. And you see I've activated the low pass because I only want, I have everything mixed together here as opposed to the multi-track. Ideally, I'd have everything broken down, kick and snare and hi-hats all on separate tracks, but here I have everything mixed together. So I'm using the low pass to isolate the kick drum and make sure that only my kick activates the opening of the gate. And you can kind of play with all these settings depending on what you need. I think I've set this up already. Yeah, so you could hear it, and you can watch it over here on the meter that it's only allowing the sine wave through once the kick drum is coming through on this track. So if I mute this, here it's kind of missing that body. And yeah, you can play with these settings to make it as subtle as you need. Generally, you want to set the thresholds you have to really kind of adjust that and fine tune it until it's only the kick is triggering it. Same with the low pass. And then these are more stylistic. So if you wanted like that real kind of hip hop, like loud boom that kind of continues for 3 bars or something, you can increase those. So you see it, the gate takes longer to close, so it lets the kick kind of boom and then fade out. So yeah, once again, just listen to it. Well, let's set it back to normal. And you can always adjust this in the mix, so you probably want to bring down the level of this channel relative to the drum loop so that it kind of blends in better and it sounds more natural. But yeah, once again. Yeah, so anyways, that's the trick. And another cool thing you could do is if you wanted to add kind of more crunchiness to your snare, you could do the same concept with white noise generator. So this noise generator that I'm using for this example also has a white noise option. So you could set it up so that it's white or pink noise, and on the gate you would set it with a high pass filter, and you would make sure that the snare triggers it. So your snare would kind of add more crunchiness to it and more high end. So if the snare sounds muffled in your recording, it's a good way to fix it by adding that white noise generator and have that triggered by the snare. I hope that's helpful, and have a nice day.